welcome back to the Cup Chasers podcast. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. It's another match week preview here in week 2. We got some spicy fixtures coming up, and if you're excited about the weekend, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and get that notification bell on. All right. Possibly the best fixture of the weekend. Manchester City are hosting Newcastle at the Etihad. What are you telling me, Lewis?
I'm looking at it. It's interesting looking back at just where the team is. There's if you use the Super Cup as a gauge to kind of where they are. I think like Cole Palmer is definitely better. I was happy that he scored a goal, but he's been better. But I don't know. They may start Alvarez out there. Foden is Foden, where they just move him all around. Grealish was mid again, and so I think he's in jeopardy of losing his place because he's been looking rough. And I mean, it's funny they make jokes about somebody being drunk and drinking beer, but when it shows up on the field, it's not cool and happy fun times anymore. And he was mid. Now they kept him on because you want to kind of have that veteran presence in that game. But I think his place may be in jeopardy. I think he may play Foden and Alvarez out wide, like he instead of Grealish being there. And so then the question is who plays centrally? I don't know. So Stones won't be there, so I expect Vardiol to play out there. And just looking at that, he was falling out a lot. He looked like the physicality of a La Liga side was kind of getting to him, which is a bit strange to me. But and he has some
one this week. Then he's in for a rude awakening this week. Then
I saw what I saw. He was getting knocked over. He was falling, like the goal that got scored against them. That's you can't lose track of people like that. I'd assume he's going to get better because he was good going forward. Like going forward, he looked like he was very comfortable doing that. Diaz will be playing, so that's a big difference. Diaz will be there. So maybe Ake plays out wide. I don't really know the answer to that. Just with that, looking at the lineup, I think it will be, even though, I always predict goofy goals or whatever, because it's at home. And I rate Newcastle's quality. I think they scored 2. I think they scored 2 in this game, but I also think City scores 3 because something I saw, and maybe it's just a me thing. Haaland, he played all right. A lot of people, they make the point about him not showing up in finals, even though they missed the whole 2 people marking him and the whole defense focused on him. But, I'm okay, that's fine. And, he takes those as challenges, but I love the comments. And, my comment was, I hope he sees them. Because the thing that happened was I also saw something different about his body language in the in the Super Cup. He was getting visibly frustrated a lot. Like you could see it. You didn't really see that body language before. And there's a couple of reasons I think that might have happened. One, they were trying to give him balls. You could see they were really trying in that game, and they weren't getting there. So one part
was crossing him in the air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the one part is there's a judgment that Haaland is not good without De Bruyne. Might be something to that, right? And so you could see there was frustration because he wasn't getting balls like De Bruyne would give him. It's obviously vision, obviously ability, right? And so some tried to do the balls, but they really didn't. So I think what's going to happen is it's going to be super physical. I think it'll be really open. And just as people may look at what Newcastle has done to score and attack, City can do the same because I think Foden and Alvarez will be up there, and those guys are good for goals. And Rodri is good for 1-2 because, obviously Rodri likes to get forward as well. But I think it'll be open. I think it'll be something that open your eyes. It'll push the transfer window move for Paqueta and also for Doku or Dooku. I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. I prefer him to be Dooku so he can be a Sith Lord. But, that's just being a Star Wars.
I think it's Doku.
Yeah, but Dooku sounds more fun.
Yeah, don't ruin it. Don't let him have his fun.
Yeah, that's my prognostication on that. I think it's the Etihad is the Etihad. I do think Newcastle has the quality to score, but I think it's 3-2.
Nice, nice. I also have gone with a 3-2 scoreline. I know it's going to be 3-2. It could go either way. It definitely could go either way, and I've gone with a heart pick on this one. Last season, early on in the season, City were kind of didn't come out of the blocks as hot as perhaps others may have. We'll go with that statement there, that turn of phrase. And Newcastle gave them a awesome game, 3-3. I still remember it was a lot of fun. Newcastle were up 2-0 early on. But as we know, don't poke the beast. Don't poke the bear. So I think you're right, though. It's going to be very, very physical game. I think Newcastle flying high are going to, I think if there's ever a time, that City look a little smidgen vulnerable and Newcastle are flying high, I think they're going to be confident. I think they're feeling it. I myself have said 3-2 to the tune. To the black and white referees. Yeah, they're gonna battle in that midfield. It's gonna be a battle for sure, and I'm interesting to see how Pep approaches it because if it's the likes of Rico Lewis, Bernardo Silva, I mean even Cole Palmer will get manhandled. I feel like because Joel Linton, Dan Burn, these guys don't play around, man. Fabian Schär, what's the dude in the middle? Like they have no problems throwing people around. And as much fun as the 3-3 at St. James was, if I recall, it was 1-0 back at the Etihad last season, and it was just a bloodbath, just an absolute gladiator, punch for punch. I remember Holland trying to fight Dan Burn. Like they looked like
Oh yeah,
two
that was that
giants
game.
out
That was
there.
that game. Yeah.
That game was nasty. And
2-0.
the same.
2-0 City.
It was 2-0 to City. Yeah, I expect the same. I expect it to be gross, but I also expect it to be nice and open. So I've gone with a 5-goal thriller, 3-2 to Newcastle. Come on, please.
Start them early.
Oh, hey man, hey, you remember what I said on the last pod? Every single point matters. Yep. Just ask Liverpool. If you're gonna beat City, every single point. So yeah, you're right. I'm cheering hard against City every single game. Trauma. It's just straight up trauma. What do we think, Patrick?
I think that one, I can't get a handle on what Newcastle is, even at this early. I was talking to my friend, and we were talking about where we picked Newcastle in the preseason, to finish the season, and I said, yeah, I picked them 7th, and he's a Newcastle fan. He's like, yeah, I picked them 6th, and he said, now after what I saw last weekend, I mean, we most definitely can challenge for top 4, and I agree with him. And it's interesting that we're going to get a potential top 4 battle in the second week of the season. I just feel like people are going to kind of hang on to how Newcastle looked, and City's limping in. They don't have KDB and they don't have Stones and whoever else.
I'm riding that hype train so hard.
They used to have Gundogan, but they don't have anybody like him now. And this is where Pep gets them to focus and say, all right, I know y'all won, against Sevilla, but that's Sevilla. We're now focused on the league until we have to worry about Champions League and whatnot. And this is your first test. And if there's anybody, and I respect Eddie Howe a lot, but if there's anybody that can get anybody's attention on that team, it's Pep Guardiola. And so that is why I went with City 3, Newcastle 1.
See it. I can see that for sure. What you thinking, X?
Only 2-2 draw. I know there's going to be goals.
A 2 or 3?
2-2 draw.
Yeah.
I know there's going to be goals, but like it's really like you said, I don't know who's going to score the game winner or who's going to edge that out on top. So I'm going to play it kind of middle of the road here, and because Newcastle are flying high, they're looking good. Tonali fits right in. Sure, City has their bumps and their knocks, but like you said, that midfield, like Guimaraes, Tonali,
And Joel and
Joey, yeah, it's a lot to handle for anybody. And City's, I would like to see them start the season the same way that they started last season, which, coming off the back of a cup win isn't really how we want them to start. So, but I think, like Patrick just said, I think Newcastle can give them a run for their money. I think Newcastle are up for the task. That's kind of what they've been building to, are these moments to show up big. Hey, we belong here. We want to vie for top 4. They have Champions League this season, so they need these games to prove they deserve to be in that tournament, and they have that mentality when they're moving forward. So I think taking a draw at the Etihad or the Etihad, whatever you want to call it, that's huge for them. That's like taking points home from Anfield, and that really can make or break. Like you said, every point matters once you get down to the end of this marathon. But I think Newcastle are up for the task, and I'm glad it's early in the season. To kind of piggyback off what Patrick said, I'm glad it's here on week 2. I think that's the help to Newcastle or anyone top flight who's going to play City, because once City get rolling and once Pep finds that groove that works, that formula, it's hard to knock them off of anything, no matter who you are. So I'm actually glad. I'd like to see them play a lot of their hard games quicker.
Yeah.
Because they look less polished, which they're still amazing. No one's going to sit there and say like, "Oh, City are bad by any means." They look less polished, which is when you need to capitalize on if you're going to at least challenge them.
Do you think that Joel Linton might be man-marking Rodri, like might be blanketing Rodri?
I mean, that's one way to do it. We saw Kova, Patrick kind of said, "Oh, we don't have Gundogan, we don't have KDB, we don't have, Kova's not Gundogan. He's not going to score the goals he did. He's not going to come up in those big clutch moments. He's a brute. He can push people around in the midfield. He can create a little bit of space. But he's a
third midfielder for City. That's the question, because Guimaraes is going to match up. Joel Linton will match up with Rodri. Guimaraes will match up with whoever the third one will be, and Tonali's probably matching with Kova. So is it Silva? Is it Foden? And Lewis, you said it'll probably be Foden Alvarez on the outside. Is Grealish finally going to get a spot in the 10?
No.
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 That's just a hard no. So who's third? Because, like I say, I feel like Silva.
I guess it would be Silva. I mean, because I think he was just sick. I think he was out because he had like probably a stomach bug or something. So I guess it's him.
Or will Silva be wing and Alvarez will be behind Haaland?
I mean, you could do that, but I think the way Newcastle plays, Bernardo has better control on the ball than Alvarez, and he'll play deeper. So he'll defend more so than Alvarez would. So I think Bernardo's probably better. He's more of an engine. While if you're going to say anyone's close to Gundogan, it's him, as far as doing what's done in the midfield. So I would guess it's him. And you would have Rodri and Kovacic just sort of protecting him. And he's just kind of going to go from there. But that's where, the funny thing is I get the point of like Newcastle is physical, but I mean, City has literally played everybody. I don't think physicality bothers them. I mean, and the funny thing is while City is a finesse team, they're big. Like, I don't think people understand how big the team is. They're freaking huge. And
we were just piggybacking on Gvardiol might struggle.
Well, but that was because he just looked like he did like you. I don't know if you saw at the end of the Super Cup, like he and Diaz were talking to each other. I think all of it changed just because Diaz wasn't on the field. because you notice like that goal they scored doesn't happen if Diaz is there. It doesn't happen at all, because that was just literally getting lost. And how do you get lost like that, right? Yeah. And so I just think because of who Diaz is and the way he kind of controlled the field, even though he's not a captain, he's sort of like sort of a de facto one. He probably is the third captain. That he works there, because even Walker was making mistakes. Walker was mistiming tackles. He was lunging in on stuff that I think they were really loose. I really think they took the game more like a friendly. I mean, they played similar to what you saw against Arsenal, but whereas when they played the league game, they didn't play the same way. So I think they take the league seriously, and it's at home. Like, this one was in Greece in the middle of the week. And they probably, I think they went home like right away. So, I mean, they didn't even, because I know Pep said they didn't drink any beer or anything. They didn't even celebrate. They just went home. So, I think they saw Newcastle. There's no way they didn't see them. So, I think they like those challenges. And, I like X's point. And my perspective on it is, if the good teams see City earlier, I don't know if that's what you really want. Because if they start beating you early, that means they catch the flow earlier. Mm-hmm. And then there's no catching them then. Because we saw when they caught people early and beat them, they put up 100. So I mean,
that's why I'm making heart picks in week 2, praying to the football gods that they can pull one out already.
I was gonna say this. Last year when KDB couldn't play and when Stones couldn't play, someone stepped up. Every time. Usually it was Gundogan to step up for KDB. I think it's going to be Phil Foden now. I think that he's going to really shine. Alvarez always is a threat if Pep decides to play him and Haaland together specifically. It's going to be interesting how Pep approaches this. Is he worried about Newcastle breaking them down? Does he think that this is going to be like ping pong? They have possession, we have possession. Or does he think we're going to control this? Let's play our game. And when you have control, you can play a Kova. Because he will keep the ball. Now, he's not going to progress it and score on you because he has no shooting qualities whatsoever. The only time he scores is a Golazo. I mean, truthfully, every goal that I can think of for Kova at Chelsea was like some wild shot. Crazy. Yeah. I mean, just something crazy. But as long as you have Rodri in the middle, if you're worried about the back line, play Walker, play Ake, play Diaz, and play Akanji. That group's played together a lot. If you're worried about the back line, then, midfield's going to have a little bit of change to it, but it's not going to be that drastic. I mean, I think everybody is looking at City and saying, well, they won everything. They're gonna take it easy. Pep's not gonna push the buttons as much as he did last year, and I think it's the totally opposite. There's something out there for them to achieve. Win 4 leagues in a row, never been done. At least I don't think it has.
Nope.
It's just, I think there's things out there for Pep to motivate with, and it starts in the league. They saw what kind of work they had to put in to catch Arsenal last year. Do they want to put that kind of work in again, or do they want to take care of business to begin with and say, there's a reason we won the league, and we're going to win the league again? And that's what I'm interested to see, like, who fills in with that Gundogan spot being gone. I think it'll be Foden. I think Foden's going to look really good in the process of doing it.
I'm going to change my Alvarez thing. Somebody's going to get dropped, but I actually think Grealish will play, because this is a Grealish game of him getting fouled and and getting on people's nerves. So he probably will, and he'll be on the wing. The games he's played, he's produced nothing. And I mean, he was crossing the ball more, so I'm proud of him for that. But even then, his end product, there wasn't anything there. And so, but I think this game suits the type of player he is. So I think he will play. But then it makes it hard because, who do you sit? Because I mean, I would start Alvarez again, because he didn't start in the cup, but I would start him. I probably wouldn't start Cole Palmer, which means you would push Foden out to the left.
I mean, Silva drops.
And so, but see, even then, if Silva was out, I mean, do you start him or do you put him in as the super sub, right? I mean, I guess you could put.
Would you start over Foden? Would you drop Foden and be Grealish, Allen, Silva?
I mean, he might do that.
We've seen that.
Might do that. I just my big thing is that Grealish hadn't shown anything, and before it was holding up the ball and getting fouled. But that, I mean, in this game coming, maybe that's what's needed. So okay, he fits this one. But in the other games, it produced nothing. Like, it literally, the fouls weren't in great areas. He wasn't advancing the ball. He wasn't really getting into the box doing anything. I mean, there were several times where he was outside of the box and his passes were to nowhere, or they were negative. And I don't know. I just think it's, but you already know, like, I've never hated on Grealish, but I just feel like the style of player he is, he should be in the middle of the field, and he won't play him there. So, I mean, if he's not going to play him there, I don't see him as the winger to do what's needed. But I mean, Pep knows more than me, so I'll let it be what it is.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Regardless of the prediction, should be a fantastic game. We know Pep's got something up his sleeve, hoping Eddie Howe has the same. Agreed with that. Well, there you have it. Predictions are in for match week 2. Lots of good action coming up. And if you are as pumped as we are about it, go ahead and smash up the likes, subscribe to the channel, and get that notification bell on. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening, and have a great night.